On the 17th of February, Vinicius Jr. walked into the most hostile stadium in Europe. A crowd that hated him. A manager on the touchline who had publicly called him a problem. 50,000 people waiting for him to fail. He cut inside, dropped his shoulder, and curled one into the top corner. Then he danced, right in front of them. What followed made global headlines.
Vinicius Jr. has accused Benfica's Argentine forward Gianluca Prestiani of racially abusing him during a heated Champions League clash between Real Madrid and Benfica.
But the controversy swallowed the most important part. That wasn't a player having a good night. That was a completely different animal. The revenge tour everyone wrote off? It just started. The Champions League, the World Cup. He's coming for both. Because this didn't come from nowhere. This came from 18 months of pain. October 2024, the Ballon d'Or ceremony in Paris. Vinicius had just scored the Champions League final winner. He'd won La Liga. He'd been arguably the most devastating player on the planet for 12 straight months. Real Madrid was so certain he would win that when word leaked he wouldn't, they pulled the entire delegation and boycotted the ceremony in protest. He sat at home watching someone else lift that trophy. The football world erupted. Cristiano Ronaldo called it a robbery. Former players, managers, and fans across the globe lined up to say the wrong man had won. For weeks, it was the only conversation in football. And somewhere in the middle of it all was Vinicius, a 24-year-old from São Gonçalo, a kid who grew up in a neighborhood where, in his own words, you either become a criminal or you work hard to get out. Watching the biggest individual prize in the sport slip through his fingers for reasons the game still can't fully explain. His response? 4 words posted on X. In Portuguese. I'll do it 10 times if I have to. They're not ready. 87 million views. The revenge tour was officially announced. 2 months later, FIFA handed him the Best Men's Player award. A separate vote, decided by national team coaches, captains, journalists, and fans. He won it convincingly. Standing at the podium, he didn't hold back. Today, I write to the child who has seen so many idols lift that trophy. His time has come. Or rather, my time has come. The time to say, yes, I am the best player in the world and I have fought hard for it. Read that again. That is not a man who accepted the result. That is a man loading up. And it set up what should have been the most dominant season of his career. Except it never started. So what went wrong for Vini? The revenge tour had just been announced to 87 million people. The stage was set. And then Vinicius Jr. disappeared. The numbers were brutal. His chance conversion rate collapsed from 25% the prior season down to just 9%. His shots on target per 90 minutes dropped from 1.83 to 1.01. He went 15 consecutive La Liga games without scoring. 15! For a player of his profile, at a club with his expectations, that's not a rough patch. That's a crisis. The critics arrived immediately. Former World Cup winner Emmanuel Petit didn't hold back. Speaking to Get French Football News in April 2025, he said, Vinicius Jr. last season was fighting for the Ballon d'Or. Where is he actually? He's not there anymore. Is he distracted by the offer from Saudi Arabia? Probably. Is he distracted by the fact that Mbappe is now the star of the team? Maybe as well. But I think he is so far from his level. That was April. By November, Petit had run out of patience entirely. He told Jeff Bet, Vinicius Jr. has been a problem at Madrid since he lost the Ballon d'Or. He constantly complains. Why always me? Why am I being substituted? Why didn't I win the Ballon d'Or? He is becoming a very serious problem. When a World Cup winner is saying that about you publicly, things have gone badly wrong. And then it got worse. Sections of the Bernabeu, his own home crowd, the fans who had watched him score the Champions League final winners, started booing him. Not opposition fans, his own. Mbappe had to publicly urge supporters to stop targeting his teammate. The man who 11 months earlier had been the best player on earth was getting whistled off the pitch in his own stadium. There were multiple reasons for the collapse. Physically, reports from Diario AS revealed that Vinicius had privately told teammates he wasn't in peak condition. His speed and endurance had both taken a significant hit. The explosive bursts that had made him unplayable weren't coming. Defenders who would have been toast 12 months earlier were containing him. Tactically, the arrival of Mbappe had dismantled everything. Two left-sided, ball-dominant superstars sharing one pitch sounds exciting in theory. In practice, it was a mess. Their movements kept clashing. Their instincts pulled in opposite directions. In their first 5 months together, Vinicius and Mbappe, two of the most expensive attackers on the planet, had combined for just 5 goals. 5 between them. That is a damning number that tells you everything about how badly the partnership was malfunctioning. By the end of 2025, even Vinicius couldn't hide it. Speaking to Real Madrid TV, the defiance from the FIFA Best podium was completely gone. We know it has not been a good year for us, but we have no doubt that we will come back. It sounded less like a man loading up and more like a man trying to convince himself. The revenge tour wasn't just delayed, it looked cancelled. Then something changed. Quietly at first, the way the most dangerous things always do. Alvaro Arbeloa took over as head coach and almost immediately noticed a difference. Speaking after the Real Sociedad match last Saturday, he said, "I've been seeing a great Vinicius for a month now. Since I arrived, he's been playing at a very high level, very decisive. For me, he's a player who goes beyond numbers. It's about how he influences matches and the defenders he draws." That quote matters because Arbeloa isn't saying Vinicius is back. He's saying this version is operating differently. Not just scoring, but dictating. Not just dribbling, but making defenders reorganize around him even when he doesn't have the ball. On February 14th, with Mbappe rested on the bench and Bellingham out injured, Vinicius was handed the stage entirely to himself. And he delivered. Against Real Sociedad, with Madrid needing to go top of La Liga before the Benfica trip, he was the best player on the pitch. He won 2 penalties, converted both with ice-cold composure, sending the goalkeeper the wrong way the first time, switching corners the second time, already knowing what he was going to do before he even placed the ball down. Madrid won 4-1. They went top of La Liga. And with those 2 goals, Vinicius passed Neymar's La Liga goal tally. 69 goals in the Spanish top flight, more than the Brazilian legend managed across his entire Barcelona career. His last 13 La Liga appearances before that match had produced just 1 goal contribution. His last 2, 3 contributions. The switch had been flipped. But scoring twice against Real Sociedad is one thing. What came 4 days later was something else entirely. He has faced racist abuse across Europe for years. 18 legal complaints filed since 2022 alone. Walking into a sold-out Benfica ground, managed by Jose Mourinho of all people, was always going to be an atmosphere designed to break him. It didn't. In the 50th minute, he cut inside, left the defender standing, and curled a magnificent shot into the far corner. And then he danced, right in front of the Benfica supporters. Cupped his ear, let them feel it. Objects were thrown. Players from both sides flooded the pitch. Benfica's Gianluca Prestiani approached Vinicius, covering his mouth with his shirt, and said something that stopped the match for 10 minutes. Vinicius ran straight to the referee, then walked to the bench and sat down alone. 50,000 people screaming around him. Complete stillness. Mourinho's post-match comments made everything worse, suggesting Vinicius had provoked the alleged abuse with his celebration. Thierry Henry didn't hide where he stood. "I don't like Real Madrid, but I'm a Madridista tonight. I don't care what shirt Vinicius Jr is wearing." Trent Alexander-Arnold was blunt. "What has happened tonight is a disgrace to football. There is no place for it in football or society. It is disgusting." Vinicius posted on Instagram afterwards. Not rage, not self-pity, just this. "Racists are, above all, cowards. Nothing that happened today is new in my life or my family's life. That is not a man broken by the moment. That is a man who has been through this enough times to know how to carry it. Now, consider what got buried under all of it. That goal was his 31st in the Champions League, second highest Brazilian scorer in the competition's history, ahead of Kaká, behind only Neymar, scored in the most hostile environment imaginable, with the whole stadium against him. That is not a player going through a difficult period. That is a player who has found something. Now, why this World Cup changes everything? Because Brazil haven't won a World Cup since 2002. For a nation where football isn't just a sport but a birthright, that is not a statistic. That is an open wound passed from one generation to the next. Vinícius Jr is the answer to that. He is the only player in that squad with a combination of individual brilliance, big game mentality, and the kind of fury that has been building inside him for 2 years. The Ballon d'Or that was taken, the booing from his own fans, the racism night after night, the slow start to this season, all of it. That is a lot of fuel. The World Cup is played in North America this summer. Tight knockout games, individual moments of genius deciding everything. Hostile atmospheres in packed stadiums. Vinícius Jr does not crack under that kind of pressure. We just watched him prove it. He scores and then he dances. His coach Arbeloa said it after the Sociedad game. I've been seeing a great Vinícius for a month now. Very decisive. For me, he's a player who goes beyond numbers. It's about how he influences matches and the defenders he draws. Remember what Vinícius said standing on that FIFA Best podium. Yes, I am the best player in the world, and I have fought hard for it. He wasn't done fighting then. He is nowhere near done now. If he arrives at that World Cup playing like this, with this much to prove, God help everyone else. Brazil are coming.